Hello, you're listening to the Trading Through Coronavirus podcast from Business West with me, Nigel Barker. Now, obviously, I must start by just sort of saying the Prime Minister Boris Johnson was taken into intensive care overnight, and from myself and all the team at Business West, we wish him all the best and I hope for a speedy recovery. He's in very safe hands with our NHS, so that's good. But also, I'd like to extend that to anybody that's in intensive care, or if you've got relatives going through this at the moment. You know, it's a tough time, but you are really at the sharp end of it. So, sending our best wishes to all of you. Now, last week, Rishi Sunak plugged a bit of a hole, or a few of the holes in the civil scheme, but there's still a bit of a gap in the system. Startup businesses in their first 3 years of trading, for example, they may not have much income yet and are probably still operating at a loss, as is always typical, which means they kind of fall down a little bit of a gap. Ed Tellwright is an innovation specialist here at Business West, and he helps businesses to access finance. Ed, what problems are startup businesses facing since the beginning of coronavirus?
A lot of problems, actually. Lots of businesses that I and the other advisors here at Business West are speaking to are facing issues primarily around cash flow and the working capital requirements of the business. Quite simply, with the lockdown, they haven't got the customers coming in, so the revenue has dried up. They can't pay the bills, so are struggling financially. The other side of that, of course, is actually accessing finance and funding for these businesses. So within my role, actually liaising with investors in the Southwest, had a conversation with an angel network based in Bristol. They generally invest around 2 million quid a year into businesses. I've done a number of deals in the last couple of years, so very prominent in the sector, and they've actually stopped investing in businesses. They are now actually looking to shore up, secure, and support their current investments rather than looking to invest in new businesses. So within the startup scene, and that's quite a broad spectrum, but businesses under 3 years old roughly, with no trading or not much trading history, no assets or security, the CBILS scheme, although it is being broadened to encompass some earlier stage businesses, your pure startups are definitely being missed out. So the government, I think, hopefully will be looking to do something to help them out.
Okay, so traditionally, obviously, startups, you know, with regards to cash flow, as you say, look for investment. How do you think the government can plug that gap? There's not been an official announcement on it yet. What do you think the best way for the government to plug that gap might be?
That is a very, very interesting question, and in all honesty, one that's very difficult to answer. There's three options to them. Most people will know this. They could go for, quite simply, just the equity route. I saw this morning actually, that it was in the Times that the government, through the Business Growth Fund, are actually looking to invest in medium-sized businesses through an equity stake. So they're actually using taxpayer funds to take a holding in the business. That could be an option. So your early stage startups, the government could invest very much like Dragon's Den and take some shares of the business, these startup businesses. Whether they will do that, I doubt it. The due diligence that's required and involved in investing in businesses like that through those means is extensive. And quite often, as we often see on TV programs or in that industry, the returns are some way off. We're talking 10 to 15 years before even the best businesses are sold out, or you actually see a return on your investment. So I'm not quite sure that equity is the right option, but it could obviously be an option that they go for. The other end of the spectrum is grants. Now they already have the system in place to do this through Innovate UK. Lots of local authorities also provide grants to businesses, so that could definitely be an option for them as well. The issue I see with that, however, is you now have a lot of businesses applying for the CBILS scheme and accessing these loans, which the government have been pushing. Those businesses, I think, would have a case for, some complaints that just because they didn't register their business more recently, they can't access what is essentially free money, and they have to access a loan and make the repayments as well as interest. So there is an argument. They have the facility for it, but whether it's fair on the other businesses, I'm not sure. Now, the one that's in the middle, whether they come up with another option or another take on the CBIL scheme for early stage businesses and startup businesses, we'll have to see. These businesses, startup businesses, don't have the reserves, don't have the security that banks and debt providers often like to see. So whether they could do that as an option as well, I'm not quite sure.
Okay. What advice would you have for any business that obviously is in the startup category and is just thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Where can I turn? Who can they go to?
Speak to your local authority. Contact businesses that are out there to help these startup businesses. Business West, Set Squared. There's loads of accelerators around, all trying to understand and help businesses find their way through this difficult time. Have a look at the British Business Bank website. That's got all the FAQs, all the plans, all the documents on the CBIL scheme, and the Gov website, of course, which has all the documentation and information on the other options available to businesses at this time. Moving forwards, I've always said this to businesses in my journey through this: cash is king, and I think this time better than any is proving that businesses need to look after the cash, and revenue, although it's great, it's not actually money in the bank. So, and that's what kills businesses, as we are seeing.
Thanks very much for that, Ed. Don't forget, obviously, if you want some help with this, if you need to talk to somebody, get in touch. tradingthroughcoronavirus.co.uk is the website you need, or follow the hashtag tradingthroughcoronavirus. Please, I can't emphasize this enough. I know the weather's warming up at the moment, but please continue to practice the social distancing measures that we are. Please stay at home, unless obviously you're having to go in for work or for essentials. But it is quite sunny, where I am today. So if you do get a few minutes in the garden, I think you should. Take care.